Hey guys, Creator Bard here again with the final installment of my series on creating an awesome D&D character. We've talked about who you are, we've talked about who you were, and we've talked about what you do. Today we are finally going to get to fill out our character sheets. But before we do that, make sure that if this video series has been helpful, if you like the content and want to see more of it, please like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and maybe leave a comment. Tell me what you like about it and what I can do more of. That said, let's jump right into it and get this thing filled out. So we are actually just going to go through in the same order that the videos were in, so that as you're creating your character with those videos, you can just fill everything out as you go now that you're learning how to fill them out. So let's hop right up here to name Thoradin Trollbleeder, backgrounds later, race, Thoradin was a dwarf, player name, insert your name there. Alignment, I'm gonna say lawful good, or even maybe neutral good. We'll put neutral good because he was quite a bit different from his own societal expectations. So we'll put in neutral good, and maybe I'll do a video sometime soon about the alignment system, so you can go watch that. And let's see. If you look down and see the personality traits, bonds, flaws, and ideals, that's where we're heading next. We'll save bonds for a little bit later, but we did find out kind of our personality traits in the first video, along with our flaws and ideals. For personality traits, I'm going to put free thinking for Thoradin, because that definitely was one of his. I'm also going to put kind of free-spirited, intelligent, and caring. Caring's huge for him. That probably should have been my first. And actually, that is all we really covered in the first video. Awesome. So, got that knocked in your... You got it covered. Awesome. Moving on. Right on to who were you. This is where we filled out our background. This is actually also where we're going to fill out our bond. So, background, I did a custom one. So I'll just put in healer. That's probably already a background, but it's just kind of what fits Thoradin, so that's what I'm going to use. Here's where you can insert your own background. That's going to come with a couple of proficiencies. So we can go ahead and mark a couple of things that we're proficient in. I believe that for Thoradin, that was... I don't actually remember. I'll have to go back and revisit that video. I'm going to put him in right here, though, as I edit it. All right, then for the equipment, also going to edit that in because it's been a little while since I've made that video. But these are things that you're going to be filling out as you go, so fill in the proficiencies from your background as well as the equipment that you're choosing from that background. And then you'll have a background feature also where you can come down here in the features and traits section. And there you can fill out, you can put in that feature, you can fill out as much as you want to about it, to the exact words or just something that will help you remember. Finally, let's hop over to bonds, right next to personality traits, ideals, and flaws. I saved it for now because this is kind of when we latched onto our bonds. I'm going to put, I'm going to put family because he was kind of shunned by his family, but I'm going to say he really still loves them a lot. So he would do anything for his family or his city, even though he's traveling a lot now. So, but fill out what ties your character to the world or your backstory or something. That's what you're going to fill out there in bond, and that is all we covered in that second video. So let's move on to the third. Right now we are at our last question. What do you do? This is where we filled out our class. So up at the top, you should see class and level. We made our characters at level 1, so just you'll have a 1 there next to your class, whatever class you chose. Thoradin was a druid. And when he gets to level 3 or level 2, we will have a subclass for him. But regardless, that is where we have that right there at the top. then you're going to get a few proficiencies and some equipment from that class as well, which I will be, again, editing in because it's been a while. So let's see. I know that he at least... Nope, I'm drawing a total blank. All right, well, then just see here where you can put all that. Again, equipment is going to go down there in your inventory, and proficiencies over there next to your skills. And don't worry about filling out the numbers and all that yet. We're going to do that here next, but just make sure you have noted where your proficiencies are. All right, and that is the last thing that we covered in that video. I guess we really didn't cover too much there. It's just a little bit of talk about classes. So moving on to some last things. You could do these first, you could do these last, you could do these anywhere in between. That's why I didn't really cover them in the videos, but here we go. Well, let's just jump right into stats. Stats are going to be something that are either rolled, done by a system called point buy, or found through standard array. Standard array kind of sucks, so I'm not going to talk about it. You can roll your stats depending on what your DM says, and now that could take the form of 1d20, 3d6, 4d6, drop the lowest. It doesn't really matter. If they're having you roll, they'll tell you the specifications on it, and they can explain to you how they're going to do that. I used point buy. I think it's the most fair, and it's just the easiest way to kind of get those stats done. Puts everybody on the same playing field. There are some other homebrew things that also kind of do the same thing. Check those out. Have your DM check them out. They're pretty cool. But we did point buy. It's accessible, it's easy, it's fair. So, that said, you're going to have two numbers when you fill out your character sheet. The first one is going to be your actual score for your ability, your stat. The second one is going to be your modifier for that stat. If I have a 14 in strength, and Thoradin does, then that is going to be +2. His score is 14, his modifier is +2. That's what you're going to add to the d20 when you roll it for a check. So, that said, a bonus, the ability modifier, not the bonus, the ability modifier goes up 1 point for every 2 points that are above 10. So, as an example, if I have 10 strength, that is +0. 11 strength, also +0. It doesn't go up to +1 until I get to 12. Then it goes up to +2 at 14, goes up to +3 at 16, +4 at 18, and capping at +5 at 20, with the exception of magic items that can put you over 20. Also, that works in the reverse. If you go under 10, it takes you to -1. So 9's going to be -1, 8's going to be -1. If your DM lets you go under 8, the point buy system doesn't typically, but hey, if you're doing it, you're doing it. That will also go as 7 becomes -2, 6 -2, 5 -3. So that's kind of how that works, and you can fill all those out right here along the left side of your character sheet, typically. That for Thoradin, the scores are going to be 14, 8, 14, 13, 16, and 10, making the modifiers, respectively, +2, -1, +2, +1, +3, and +0. This is where you're actually going to begin filling out your skills. Each skill is attached to an ability, so you're going to add whatever modifier you have for your ability is going to be your base score for, like, acrobatics is dexterity. So my base score for acrobatics is going to be -1 because it's a dexterity skill. However, religion, my base score for it is going to be +1 because my intelligence is +1 and religion is an intelligence-based skill. You're also going to add your proficiency bonus onto the things you're proficient in. So if I am proficient in religion, and Thoradin is, instead of it being +1, it's going to add another 2 because of proficiency bonus. So it's actually going to be a +3. The same with medicine, which is a wisdom score. So it's going to be +3 for my wisdom, and then an additional +2 for my proficiency bonus, making it a total of +5. So that is stats. That's your proficiencies. Last thing we're gonna do with stats are saving throws. You'll see that in your class you become proficient in 2 saving throws. Saving throws are something your DM can go over with you, or maybe I'll make a video of it at some point. But they're useful. They're very useful in the game. So druids get a proficiency in intelligence and wisdom saving throws. It's going to work the same way as skills. You fill in your modifier for that skill, +2, -1, +2, +1, +3, and +0 for Thoradin. And then I'm proficient in intelligence and wisdom saving throws, so those are actually going to go up to +3 and +6 respectively. No, +3 and +5 respectively. Sorry about that. All right, and that is stats. Point buy with saving throws and your proficiencies. Moving on, let's talk HP and hit dice. All right, so each class is going to give you a specific number die to roll for hit dice. At level 1, it just means you're going to take the max. You don't really start rolling hit points until level 2. Well, depending on what your DM says. If they rule it one way, that's, their call. Typically, you'll start with max health at level 1. So for the druid, we're actually going to get a D8 hit die. That means when we roll hit dice, when we roll at our level for our HP, we're going to use the D8, the 8-sided die. Then we're also going to add our Constitution modifier when we roll for our HP. So if at level 1 you are taking max, then go ahead and just take the max number on that die. If it's a D12, you take 12. If it's a D6, you take 6. If it's a D10, you take 10. If it's a D8, you take 8. Now you're going to add your Constitution modifier onto it. Thoradin has an extra bonus of +1 from Dwarven Toughness. So with the D8, he's going to take that 8. It's going to be +2 for his Constitution and another +1 for Dwarven Toughness, making his HP at level 1 an 11. That's really all I have to say about this at the moment. You will also use this again to roll hit dice. That happens at a short rest. That's going to be something that your DM can cover. It doesn't have too much to do with character creation. But that is your hit point maximum. Go ahead and mark that where it says hit point maximum. You can also put it on current hit points, but I typically save that for when I lose HP. And then there at hit dice, you're going to put 1. I'm going to put 1d8. You put 1 of whatever your hit die is. Moving on. Passives are an interesting part of the game, and some DMs use them, some don't, but they're useful to have regardless. Passives are kind of like your proficiency in a skill without having to try. A lot of people, if they do use passives, they're going to use mostly passive perception and investigation. A passive score is 8 plus your proficiency bonus if you're proficient in the skill, plus your ability score modifier. Hey guys, Editor Josh here to go back and revise something I just now said. When I was going back through it, it sounded wrong, and I was like, oh, that's right, because passives are not based in 8. They're based in 10. That makes my passive perception and investigation both 13 instead of 11, which is considerably better. That said, fix this if you just wrote down 8 plus your proficiency plus your ability modifier. It's 10 plus those relevant modifiers. That's all, guys. Enjoy the rest of the video. So for instance, my passive perception with Thoradin is going to be 8 plus 3 for his wisdom, and then he is not proficient in perception, so it will just be an 11, whereas his passive religion would be 8 plus 1 for intelligence plus 2 for religion proficiency, so also 11. Huh. Not really great passives for Thoradin. But regardless, maybe keep track of your passive perception, investigation, and maybe a third and fourth skill that you think will be particularly useful for your character. That said, they may or may not come into play, and your DM might use them differently. Some DMs let you roll, and then if you roll lower than your passive, they let you take the passive. I don't personally do that. I use them for if you're walking through the woods and I don't require a roll. You might notice something based off of your passive perception if it's high, or your passive investigation if it's high, etc., etc., etc. So that's all I've got for passives. Let's finally talk about armor class. Armor class is weird. I don't like calculating armor class because it's different for every set of armor. It would be nice for me if there was just kind of one thing across the board. I know that's impractical. I know it would not be very fun for a lot of people because the armor, it might be a big part of their character, and upping that armor class might be a big deal to them. So, that said, for Thoradin, he's wearing leather armor, which is an 11 plus your dex score. So the base AC for leather is 11. Then you add your dex score minus -1, so it bumps it back down to 10. However, he's got a shield. Shields are +2 to your AC if you're using them. So, Thoradin's armor class is 12. Go ahead and look up in the player's handbook if you have it on handy, or just kind of on Google. You can pretty quickly and easily find the SRD for D&D 5th edition. Go ahead and look up your armor and calculate your armor class accordingly. I wish I could cover it all in one easy thing like I've done most of the others. It is not that way. It's kind of varied based on your specific armor. So go ahead and calculate that. You will put that right here where it says armor class. Then finally, you've got your initiative. Your initiative is just your dexterity modifier. So Thoradin's initiative is -1. It's what you roll when you're deciding who goes first in combat. Thoradin's probably going to be at the back of the initiative order in most combats. And you have your speed. Pretty standard is 30 feet. Some smaller characters might only get 20 or 25, and depending on your build, your class, subclass, etc., you might end up getting a higher movement speed. That, I believe, is all that I'm going to cover in this, because spells are really up to you. And the types of attacks you're doing can be taken down here in attacks and spell casting, but you don't really have to do that. So I think that really is all I have for you guys. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope that you now can easily complete your next character sheet. So maybe let me know what your next character is going to be. Till next time, guys. Gotta roll.